All right, welcome in, basement dwellers. Welcome into another episode of Blockchain Basement. On today's episode, we're going to talk about how America is going to hell in a handbasket, why we should all rage and break things, and hey, maybe crypto can save us. All this and more in today's Blockchain Basement. Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
All right, what is up, everybody? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deucey Does Crypto, Beastmaster69, Asmir, Snail, Fade and Trade 5, Manawak, Solar Miner in Spain, Chemistry Bro, Flat Smack, Crypto with Kai. I think I already said Beastmaster69, but I'm gonna say it again just to make sure I don't miss it. Scotty Swing, Robert Cosson, Basat, Manawak, and many more. Love all of you guys. Have missed all of you guys. Yeah, I am rocking the mullet. We got Tony's guy here. Yeah, I just got trimmed up a few minutes ago, so I'm looking, 5 years younger, they say. Or maybe just like a kid, I don't know. And I do have a kid now. But anyway, welcome in. Shout out to all of you guys. Go back to the wide there real quick, Owen. Here you go. I'm joined by Drew here today. And I went ahead and started it so you guys can see everybody in the chat saying, oh, they're starting late. TJ must be back. TJ must be back. They're late. As you can see, I am not the reason we are late. I was in here before the show started.
It's chaos here. We're always chasing everyone around.
It is.
And they're making a lot of stuff.
On that note, I do want to let's go ahead and do some housekeeping real quick. I do want to let everybody know we're going to go ahead and push this because of this. A lot of the reason, Drew and a lot of people are doing stuff with the morning shows. Then it gets, it starts running over. We're going to go ahead and push this to 2 o'clock just to give a little bit more space there. Let people get a little bit of lunch. So I'm not always eating lunch on the stream, that sort of stuff. I know he really did. He went to town on the beard and stuff. It's interesting. I'm not used to getting that trimmed up. I got a little mustachio going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll grow out a little bit. But Flat Smack says Hannah's busy playing video games. I do think she's going to join us here. But before we get started, the number one thing. Oh, and we do have apparently we have a special guest that's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. It's a surprise, and I don't know anything about it. So all I know is the person who usually does these surprises. They usually have a pretty fun surprise. So we'll see. We'll see what we get here. But so let's see real quick. Let's start with this. We officially hit 15,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel over the weekend. So really huge shout out to all of you guys. Really appreciate it. If you've been with us from the very beginning, we do have an OG basement member NFT that comes with being a member. Obviously, I think you can be a member. Yeah, here you go. You hit this join button right here at the bottom of any video, and that's how you become a member. And then there was instructions. You can come here and get this Basement Dwellers Genesis NFT. It just basically says Blockchain Basement sub 50. Oh my goodness. Here comes the special guest. So real quick, if you don't have this NFT yet, we are going to be burning all the rest of those probably by the end of today or tomorrow. But this is the award you get for being a sub 15K member. I don't know what I'm going to do with them just yet. Probably just special rewards for the people that supported this channel at the very beginning. I want to say there's only like 100 or so that have been claimed right now. But the rest will be burned, and then whoever holds the remainders, they're not really for trading. It's more for access and fun stuff in the future. So we will see where that goes. So go ahead and this is just blockchainbasement.io is this link right here. If you want to go get it, now's your last chance. Otherwise, it will be done by the end of the show.
You're leaving the door open a little bit though, right?
Well, like for right now.
Yeah.
For the next few minutes. I don't know how long I have to get with Taco and some of those guys. It might take a day or so to get them burned, but it's going to be happening. This is your last chance announcement. Oh, wow. 287. That's pretty good. Okay. Thanks, Ariel for life. So there you go. And just huge shout out to all of you guys. We've had a really fun time on this channel. Obviously it's a little more laid back. We have a good time, but having 15,000 of you guys along with this journey, super fun. We'll probably do this again and make maybe I don't know if I'll go 25K or 50K or something like that. Just kind of depends. We'll do another one kind of for check marks along the way. And go
the first
from there.
15K, but I like the number 15K. For 15K subs, we hit 15K right as this channel started, and like there's that whole worry of will we still exist? You know what I mean? So like I bring that up a lot. Like I feel like this channel is forged in absolute fire.
There you go. So, whoa, what? Whoa. Wait a minute. What is that there? We've got some boots. Wait, a slow pan, kind of.
Oh my god.
Is that a Jedi? Dictator. Oh no! Oh, the camera's in the way. All right, there's our special guest. Wow. Where did that come from?
Oh my god, BJ.
The internet. The Dictator is gone, and they've been replaced with the Chiss ascendancy. So
Oh gosh.
get wrecked.
Came out of nowhere.
There we go. And boom, hey, all of a sudden
there
we
we
have
go.
a full set. Look at that.
You got
There you
everybody.
go. Chemistry Bro says Blockchain Basement says 245 owners at OpenSea, 100% unique owners, so I think it's 245 claims. So there you go.
Nice.
Well, huge shout out to all of you guys. We're happy to be there. We've had a really good time getting there.
So only 245 people are going to be in the raffle for the GTR.
Maybe, or whatever fun thing we do. We'll see. Might be some airdrops. Might be. I haven't really decided yet. I'll be honest. I know we can do fun things when once I kind of know everybody's address and can send them stuff. So hey, Tristan Allen, welcome to OG status.
Yes.
What a dude. Hey, that's no, that's not AJ's dad, is it? What is AJ's dad? That's AJ's.
I can't remember. What
Oh, it's
his name
Alan
is.
Pleasanton. That's where I got the wrong Alan. I was like, wait a minute, his last name's not Alan. Sorry. I got a frazzled brain today. All right, so Drew. Well, first of all, BJ, do you have where's that
Where is
coming
this?
from? What's the explanation? Is this just the new you?
Yeah, it is the new me.
Okay.
I am tired of all these Ethereum maxis, and a new order is coming into play.
Oh my gosh.
We got Beastmaster 69. He's shilling BJ's NES pool to go stake your ADA.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so Drew. All right, we've got. I think I've got it right here.
Yeah, I was out doing stuff. Lots
This
of stuff.
is Drew over the
Living an old
weekend. Owen, rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah, this is from the show.
No, there's no audio. It's
There's
just
no
pictures.
No, there's about to be audio, but we're going to do it.
Dun, 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 dun,
These are
dun,
on
dun.
Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is on my
his
Twitter. This is just like before the show, everyone getting together.
Were you on stage being like,
There he is.
Yeah, dude, I was getting down with it.
I pulled the mic away.
There was a really, really good crowd, and it was a lot of people that I knew, but a lot of new fans, and it was cool to get out and play some music, and we sold a ton of T-shirts. I kind of felt like it was the last show I'll ever play in heavy metal or Denver scene.
Until you hit me up this morning and said we're starting
I
a
know.
band.
Well, I need a band. You know what I mean? So
We're starting a band.
That's the first thing and only thing I wanted to talk to BJ about this morning, because it was just a lot of fun. Talking to some people about where I can find a good drummer, because I need to find someone that's nasty on double bass, and that's a tough thing to find. You have to look for a long time for it. And I could play the guitar and sing at the same time. Maybe thinking about doing that, but BJ's got to be in the band with me.
I could find you a pretty good drummer. I don't know how much double. He used to play double bass. Probably not as much anymore.
You
But
talking
Yeah.
Emery?
what's that?
Emery?
No. My brother's
Okay.
very, very good drummer. He's more of
Yeah.
a bassist now, but
They're hard to find.
there's
man.
people out there. I know some people.
Yeah.
But you had a blast.
It
you
was
broke
just
some
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, we were signing CDs again and selling tons of shirts. It was just actually we played pretty much spot on. It was I never went anywhere. I didn't know if I was even able to sing still, because I haven't sang heavy metal with that whole machine working behind me in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of jumped on. Well, I mean, I had a day before the show to practice just to make sure the pipes still worked. They were good. So we went on stage, and my guitarist fell off the stage in the first song and took the entire left-hand side of the stage's PA system with him.
Oh, God.
And it landed on top of him.
Oh,
he was still sitting there trying to play or whatever. He was laying under PA systems. His stuff was unplugged. And then right after that, I broke the microphone. I have a really nice Sennheiser wireless that broke literally right there. So I had to switch out microphones, got all that stuff done. And it took probably 45 seconds. The other side of the band kept the party going or whatever, but that actually kind of kicked off this chaotic feeling of moshing between the crowd and stuff, because they saw that, and then we fixed everything and got going again, and stuff got really, really crazy from there. People it was one of the best mosh pits I've ever had outside of a show I did in Durango where I had to fight people off stage, but this was a mosh pit. I mean, there was a lot of people that got hit and hurt, but they were cool about it with each other. There was good camaraderie. There's no fighting or anything like that. It was just absolute chaos, the best kind of it. So
You know what you're getting going in the pit.
Yeah, a lot of really good comments in the chat there. Snail says, hey, TJ, Drew, and Hannah, BJ, you guys should definitely start a basement band.
Basement band.
Crimson Caravan Company says, that's so metal. I thought the exact same thing when I was hearing those stories today. So speaking of craziness in a mosh pit, things breaking, chaos everywhere, nobody knows what's going on. let's talk about crypto because that's what we're here to do. That's what we all love. Obviously, it's been a lot of sideways actions, but we did get a little bit of pullback. Speaking about chaos, we're going to come back to Drew just in a minute because he told me he did something pretty crazy.
Yes, I did.
Before the weekend as well.
I
So
did.
got Bitcoin coming in right now at 25,800. Obviously down for the week. You know, that drop happened over the Thursday, Friday. It's been kind of holding around 25, 26 since then, but obviously big crush for the week. Anytime we get big moves like that, I kind of like to do the weekly, see what's up. Okay, we can see Optimism, not really, but really Thorchain and Akash Network, Akash. Those are really the only two. How would you guys say that? Akash or Akash?
Akash. I mean, I don't know. Either ways.
So, and the reason I like to do this is just out of curiosity. When everything else is dipping, what's moving against the grain? So, Thorchain, I think a lot of us know why. We can touch on that a little bit later. They've released some new features and streaming swaps and some of the kind of stuff you can do fully on chain that you could used to only be able to do on a SEX. So that's something interesting to look at. But you also like to look at the inverse and see like, okay, of the projects I'm watching, like which ones got hammered the hardest in that dip. And this will change a little bit day by day, but as you string down through here, like, oh, okay, hey, Polygon, Matic, I've been wanting to accumulate some Matic. I've been keeping my eye on it. It's on 20% pullback. Let me pull the chart up, so
this is exactly what you said was going to happen. For this entire time frame this show has been going on. Right. We've been sitting here stacking Bitcoin and Ethereum, studying these projects and figuring out our baskets to get, and it's all happening. Beautiful.
It is beautiful. So, I guess I'll keep talking while they're trying to figure out the technical stuff.
Some garbage.
But I did want to. There you go. Hey, we're back to the screen. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you said right before the show went live as far as being prepared for this dip.
Yeah. So, all right. Over the course of the last few weeks on this show, I've been talking about that 25, retracement or a move down to 25. And then Evan Aldo opened up my eyes to a potential 22K for Bitcoin in, the next few months. So I got to thinking, because I like being a perpetual bull on Bitcoin. I'm super into it for the sovereignty aspect. But then I was like, wait a minute, I got to back up. So I looked at the overall cycles and just the overall accumulation range. I mean, I know it looks kind of flat when you're looking at it from a large time frame, but I zoomed in on those, saw that they had good corrections in basically the same time frame that we're in right now for operating off of a 4-year cycle time frame. So essentially, I felt like there is a crash coming. Bitcoin was at 30K, and so I tethered up my entire portfolio. Wow. I tethered up the entire thing. I took profits off the top, very old crypto that was great profits. I had no problem taking those profits to better my life in the short term for things that I needed around my house. And then I hold a good majority of those still in Tether because I am watching out for the next few months. I basically want to start looking at re-entering in about November. That's what I'm thinking right now.
So you went at right around 30K, you tethered basically your whole stack.
Yes.
And now obviously we've seen a pretty solid correction or retracement since then. And are you still in Tether, or have you moved back in? Okay.
I am.
But you're looking to move back into. You were mostly in Bitcoin and Ethereum before?
I was very much mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like my portfolio consisted about 60% Bitcoin and then 25, maybe 30% Ethereum. I left it was like 5 to 7% of my bag was XRP. I did leave that in the background just because I never know what the hell is going to happen with that thing. It's got this gigantic conspiracy behind it, and if that thing plays out, there's not really any TA you can do to try to prepare for it. But I did I took the Tether for the Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is the vast majority of the portfolio. And now I am thinking that it might be time. Like last cycle, I did great off of Bitcoin and Ethereum because Ethereum was $200 or 190, and then Bitcoin was 5K, 4K. You know what I mean? During the pandemic crash, and I was all about it. I was excited. I was not fearful because it's what I had been waiting and planning on, and it happened. But now I feel like I want to look at maybe a more aggressive altcoin to move that stack into, because by now, I mean, I've taken profits off the same bag multiple times. At the top of the last bull market, I took a lot of profits off what I originally put in, still had vast majority of the portfolio. Now I see this all kind of playing out the same time frame. This feels very boring, sideways / painful time frame for just a few months. And then when it comes back, I feel like things like Polygon, Potential. I've been thinking about really just laying it down in Cardano. I didn't tell you this, but I am thinking about laying it down in Cardano.
Interesting.
But yeah, because I think that those have very much more upside potential than Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin will probably like 2 to 3x its all-time high, and that's just my personal theory. But then I do see things like Cardano. I know a lot of people are just looking for a new all-time high, but if it keeps the lights on,
Dude,
it
all-time
keeps
high is
developing.
10x.
I know. And that's a 10x.
And
from
I'm being
the last
conservative
market.
and staying there.
Right. So I am looking at Cardano. I'm looking at Polygon. I'm going to have a good bag of L2s, but I am waiting to see what happens over the next few months. I've seen some weird things that are in the day-to-day. Have you noticed that Target's setting up a drive-through only no contact pickup locations? I'm seeing major retailers.
Oh, that's why I'm on it.
Chick-fil-A
We're hitting
has
at least 19.7.
I think we're going to get another panty scare. I think that's happening.
So I somewhat argued with Ben yesterday on the stream that he started out discussing that there are discussions about, it's hilarious that they're naming it Eris, which is the Greek goddess of strife and calamity. But nonetheless, he was talking about that, and I was like, yeah, it's interesting that the media is saying that's not going to be a thing, but you're seeing a lot of things that are setting up for that, such as Bizer's rates are down. I'm sorry, their profits are way down right now, and they're sitting on a lot of stuff that they're like, oh, this will work for the new, even though it hasn't changed. But that aside, because I think there's going to be some downward action across markets in general, because I'm one of those people that it's like traditionally at the last quarter, especially going into a bull run potentially, that people are going to want to get capital losses. And what better way to cover that up than, oh, look what happened, and drop everything down. So like I still am looking at 19.7 for a lot of that stuff. I still have a lot of dry powder on the sideline, but like I'm expecting stuff to come down. There are a lot of macro environmental things, kind of pun intended there, that are kind of lining up. So it's like
You're always harping on those things.
Yeah. Well, that
Jesus Christ,
You
that
know,
was good.
unbelievable.
yeah.
I don't know if anybody else got that.
They will. They'll
That
get it.
was Jesus.
No, you guys said a lot of really good stuff right there, and I wanted to come to a couple things in the chat. This
Harping.
is a
Sorry.
pretty good question. I like that you mentioned Matic, Drew, because when we were looking, that was one when I pull it up and I see ones that are on a big pullback. This was one I considered accumulating today.
Oh, and if you stop looking at pictures of your girlfriend, take a screen.
He's
Thank
looking
you.
at porn.
Basically you can see it's right around 40 to 50 cents. It's found this support several different times. Now it's capable of breaking down. It could break down even lower if we see a really low thing for Bitcoin. But anything between 40 and 50 cents, or 42 and 55, really for Matic is looking really good for me. So like when Drew's talking about seeing some of those things pull back, and you can see them here.
Dude, Polygon was so great to me last bull market too.
Yeah.
Like I chose it literally off of the logo. I knew nothing about it. Like completely didn't think about layer twos the way we do now.
Well, also we talk about 10x and Cardano. What Polygon hit $3?
Yeah, it did, and I took those profits right at it. It felt amazing.
So again,
Like,
that's a conservative 6x, which I think you're going to go higher than that, to be honest.
Well, I wanted to ask this about Manawak's question, because this is an important question for people. You need to know how to answer this for yourself when you do tether up. What he said, and it's important, he said, if we don't go back down to 22.5, when do you get off the sideline? Like, what is your play of like
32K.
32? So if we're back up,
32K.
if you start seeing it to move back above 32,
Right.
you're moving back
But
in.
I'm not moving back into Bitcoin, right? I'm going to be moving that old Bitcoin stuff into these little feisty new L2 type projects because I see more upside for them.
Yeah.
Bitcoin gave me just insane upside only because of the pandemic.
What should we call, so if tethering is moving into that, at the end of a bull run, what should we call Bitcoining? Where it's like, if you're going to get larger profits in other things.
Stacking sats, man.
Yeah.
It's always what it's been called.
So like moving back into that, because again, unless Bitcoin does something absolutely parabolic, which I'm not, actually I'm saying I don't think that's a feasibility anymore. Like 2 to 3x is still fantastic in any generalized market, but I feel like that is a better thing to grab and hold. So like at the end of the market, say you make 1,000x, I'm making up numbers here. Pull out like a third of that and then buy Bitcoin, hold that long term, pull out some for, profit sakes, and then hold the rest until you feel like the end of the market happens.
You can
again.
nibble on big profit bags. It's okay.
You can.
You know what I mean? Like
You should.
You should. Like if you nibble on it, like okay, I started the portfolio with 7K. I took out 15K at the top of the last bull, right? And I've still been able to take, I think about 22 and have, a good bag remaining. I can still do a lot of stuff with that. And it all started with that one time frames. But again, I realized that now we're further into the process of crypto. And Bitcoin is probably not going to be maybe we hit 200K, but if we hit 200K, those altcoins are going to go so bananas.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not really worried about it. And even if I'm wrong about us going down from here, I left behind 7% of the portfolio in XRP, which I know is going to, do well as long as the rest of the tides rise. And these things, I know that we've seen things in the media, but seeing the stuff at Target and different box retailers, additionally to my sources within the music industry that are getting the heads up about what's coming. Because the music industry was the hardest hit. If you remember, who got crushed nearly the most in the last stuff was live entertainment, right? Because that's in person, that's right next to each other.
Well, that's where they make their money because the management strikes that less.
Absolutely, and they're getting prepared for another repeat. So that's why I'm sitting here watching it. And yeah, it's probably not going to cook it down to 10. I'd still say 15 is a very, very strong area for us to hold. But I mean, I don't put it out of the realm of possibilities, man. We got a lot of stuff. I mean, in my opinion, and still my opinion, we're going to be lucky if we have an election. So, we got some roads ahead that are going to be a little bumpy, in my opinion. So, buckle in.
Yep. There you go. I'm trying to find, somehow I lost the story that is the title of the show, so I'm going to have to find that one. Basically, it's about America's spending, and it has to do with how much, basically the debt interest costs every day. But that's, and I know I put it in here, but I'll find it. All right, so here's a little inspiration for you guys is, to show the part of the cycle that we're in right now. I have this conversation a lot. Like Drew was saying at the top of the show, we've told you guys kind of for this entire length of this channel existing, this is a lot of what this year was going to feel like, but it doesn't feel great. It wears people out. It kind of bores you into not checking your crypto. And so this is just a good little reminder of here you go. Here's a pattern forming in 2013 before the big run up. Here's a pattern, in 2017 with the big run up, and then 21 with the big run up, and then now. Now, obviously,
I want to be the. Do you mind blowing that up or expanding it?
Yeah.
Is look at the scale.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was about to say. Now, obviously, it's scaled to match. Basically, these are not the same price movements and all that sort of stuff. And then the time that we're not right here yet.
Because that's 13 to 47, which is a little bit more between a 3 and a 4x. Then 400 to 2500, which is a 6x ish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's definitely adjusted, but it does. I just want you to show you see this really, really, really tight consolidation. And I was trying to explain when the guy was here doing the haircut today. He was asking, "Oh, how's the market?" And I was like, "Well, we're in that boring part right now," which I kind of told him last time he was here when he visited. That if you want to say crypto really loosely, obviously there's a little bit more nuance to the cycles, but very broadly we have 2 years of up, 1 year of down, 1 year of sideways. And again, it's not exactly a year. There's some different markets in between, but we've been in the 1 year of sideways for quite some time. And it's starting, and we've been talking about accumulating altcoins and when to start doing that. We know we were seeing a lot of them get shaken out lower and lower to Bitcoin, which we've experienced a lot this year. I'm starting to think about accumulating now, even though a lot of people would say there's still more pain for altcoin ahead. I'm okay with starting to selectively ladder into the biggest ones again, like Matic or Polygon. I think that's a really good pick on a pullback like today. You have very strong confidences and isn't going anywhere, at least through the next cycle. They're a leader in their space. They're good at zero knowledge proofs. They're good at business developments, good partnerships. It's a solid project. Yeah. It may not be your 20Xer. It might just be a conservative, like you guys were talking about with Cardano, a conservative 5-10X. Hey, that's great. In any other investing place there is, if you can 5X or 10X something over the course of a couple of years, you're making money. So this guy, let's just say
And then I do have a weird tangent after this.
I am Zero Ica. I thought he laid out his kind of thoughts, and he's got a chart here of the market. I just kind of wanted to read through this here. I thought it was a pretty good encapsulation of where things are with altcoins and stuff. So altcoin market tips and plan. Now we're back to serious things. Statistically and factually, the average altcoin accumulation period before the start of the next bull run lasts 700 days, more or less. If we project the next bull run in 2024, respecting the classic 4-year cycles, we should have another 250 days before the takeoff. So this is the part why people that truly stick to the cycles religiously would say it's not time just yet to accumulate. You still got almost an entire year before altcoins really start taking off. Now, if you have conviction in your accumulations, like I said, you can start doing this now, but this would be the word of caution for starting now versus waiting a little bit longer. This quote unquote suffocating wait is confirmed by zero interest from retailers. That's what we just talked about, the boring part. And this is a really good way to kind of think it in context. No one of your closest non-crypto friends is paying attention, right?
Yes, that is so true.
And it is. Yeah. My plan, as I explained to you several times, is simply to accumulate slowly. This is another keyword, without rushing into hyped coins. Why slowly? The bull run doesn't start tomorrow, and we should evaluate a potential scenario in which total 2 bleeds till the end of the year. That would be the moment in which your neighbor will start to claim that crypto is a scam. And this is meaning basically total crypto market cap continues to bleed through the end of the year. This is kind of consistent with what Drew was saying, whether you're seeing the pullbacks on Bitcoin and then alts bleeding out even more. Basically what he's saying is you'll see this overall, this isn't the one he's talking about, but overall market cap of crypto will be falling. Now he's talking about total 2 on TradingView, but similar concept. That would be the moment in which your neighbor will start to claim that crypto is a scam once again. That also would represent your best buying opportunity. Then when we will start to climb again and go parabolic, the same neighbor will ask you for financial advice and which magical coins he should buy. Money giveaways will be your whole X feed, and it's true. That would represent your best selling opportunity. My best from heart tip, therefore, is to always hold a portion of cash. Don't feel the need to always be in the market. This is really key. This is the reason I'm talking about this is part of what Drew was just talking about. He decided, you know what? I'm going to take some profits. I'm going to be out of the market for the weekend. I'm going to go do this show. I'm going to just not think about it. And guess what? It all came down, and now he's got a really good opportunity. The urge condition will exclusively cause you to make mistakes. Overtrading is one of the number one ways people make money trading crypto. If you just slowly accumulate solid projects over time, you generally do very well.
Wait, hold on. Did you say trading is the number one way?
Overtrading.
Overtrading.
Yes.
Okay, copy,
looking for a trade, forcing a trade, just trying to make something happen. Just, hey, I've been in this thing for a week and I don't have any plan for when I'm getting in, when I'm getting out. Maybe I'll just move all of it over here, and then that goes down and this goes, people just moving around too much oftentimes is what gets them in trouble.
So wait, what's the saying? Everyone has a plan until the candle hits them in the face. I think that's
something like that.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes.
That's a t-shirt somewhere. The masses exclusively consider the upside potential, ignoring the downside one. And this is, again, these are some really good principles to just keep in mind when you're talking to friends or anybody new in crypto. Everybody thinks about a huge upside for crypto, and they'll kind of understand that there's a downside, but they don't really look at it like, hey, what's the upside with this project versus the downside? What's the upside with this project versus the downside? Where like Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, still has a pretty good upside and a much lower downside. You go to, your favorite project number, 50 on CoinMarketCap, and I have no idea which one is there right now, but just
about Algorand, I think, is number 50.
Okay, perfect. So somewhere in that range could be a strong project, could have a really good upside, but could just completely not make it. Yep. And some other solution gets picked, and that happens all the time in tech. So
yeah, and go deeper on that. A coin you're looking at, if it's down 90%, it's like, let's say it's 10 cents, and the downside is going to 7 cents, but the upside is maybe going to $1. Like, those are kind of things TJ's talking about to look at.
Totally. Yeah. Risk versus reward. This is another thing. I mean, a lot of people think, we're not, this is a proven technology, and it is. Like, blockchain, crypto isn't going anywhere. This market will stay and it will remain, but it's still a extremely, I'd say 99% speculation market. And you have to treat it that way. You have to know, hey, when something hits, you need to take profits on it, whether within your strategy, within your time frame. This is not like, hey, I made a whole bunch of money on, this layer 2 scaling solution. I'm definitely holding it for 30 years because it's the next Coca-Cola of the future. Like we're not there yet.
People were sure about Netscape.
Yeah.
That was everything. And then AOL discs, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the advancements in technology just moved at hyper speed. And then you end up with these completely out of the nowhere companies, Alphabet, Google, kind of taking over the space. But I remember that kind of a technological arms race between Netscape and AOL. It was really interesting to see. I feel like this is the same type of, I'm trying to compare this situation with crypto to that expansion in the internet and computers in general.
Earthlink.
For what I'm kind of thinking about doing, that's why I think the only thing that I can really marry in the long term is Bitcoin and real estate as far as these assets, and everything else is just, and Ethereum is turning into not really an altcoin anymore for sure. But when I look at taking profits, I am always trying to make sure that I'm in these, hyper aggressive, lower market cap, good projects, have their time in the sun, and then take my profits. And if they get to keep the lights on and business development all the way through the next accumulation market, great. Then I'll move back into them for the next thing. But I'm never going to think that one altcoin is going to be the future of finance. That's where you'll get wrecked.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like you guys have seen those priests that they walk around, they self-flagellate themselves. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you know what phrase they say when they do that?
What's that?
I will take profits. I will take profits. If you translate mea culpa, which is also misconjugated, that's actually what they're saying is remember to take profits.
You'll be much happier if you do. I promise you that.
So yeah, I wanted to show this. I thought it was a really good thing, and I agree with his whole assessment here. What you should do in this type of market, search, and this is kind of what I said, search for strong coins and unpumped fresh charts. So strong coins are things that like you have conviction will remain through the bull, or unpumped, that means new fresh coins that haven't trended yet. And that's something else I've seen through cycles where the newer stuff tends to do the best in the new one. But here's the key. He doesn't say buy them right away, and neither do I. Monitor them, watch what happens over the next couple of months. When a pump happens, do they pump harder? When a dump happens, do they dump harder? Does nothing happen? Does it trend with the market, inverse to the market? Then slowly hit them by planning regular buys like a spider slowly weaving its web, or like a spider slowly weaves its web. Don't quit because you're tired. In the next years, many preys will fall into your web. Be ready to eat them all. And then this is kind of where he shows, the daily, what is this? Daily chart. Yeah. So he's showing the days, of the accumulation. Here's where this is probably a couple of days ago. So here's where we are. This is the range when your neighbor's asking you, telling you crypto's a scam. Again, you've still got time. Here's 2024 right here. Here's the halving right here. So you've still got a lot of time between now and then to be accumulating. And keep in mind, what has happened to your altcoin, your favorite altcoin between here and here? It's probably gotten crushed as Bitcoin's bounced up and down. And, so just keep that in mind. This is the time to watch and accumulate. And if you accumulate some right here and it goes down to here, you're still not complaining when you're up at the top. Right. So there's plenty of profits to be made in a lot of these different projects. Finding things that will remain solvent and get through the halving and to the next bull run is going to be key. Because kind of the next transition of where we're going here is a little bit about the direction of the macroeconomics, which I think many of you can acknowledge have been very poor for quite some time. So again, I don't have this article or this story here, but I do remember reading over the weekend that I believe it's just in a couple of years or very soon. I wish I could tell you the exact time. The United States is going to be paying, and it might be currently, $5.2 billion every single day in
Ukraine?
Interest. Just to manage the national debt interest. I mean, yeah, they've already sent plenty there. So if you're doing that much just to pay off just to service the interest, let alone increase further lending, it causes very clear long-term issues as you go on.
Well, it looks like I don't know if you've looked at a lot of the Fred charts and some of the other things in commercial real estate and residential real estate, but commercial real estate, it looks like people are actually having a lot of trouble getting loans now. And then if you look at the data that Zillow is doing with their price predictions, they believe everything's going to go up about 5 or 6%. But if you look at Fred charts and everything else, it is the exact opposite. So a lot of people are wondering why Zillow they've always inflated their their numbers, but why they definitely, it looks like they're trying to manipulate the market because their data is not lining up.
Their
with
data
like,
is a complete scam.
It's definitely proving to be so right now.
They demolished entire cities that they didn't finish. They half built skyscrapers and didn't put siding on the skyscrapers, so the weather eroded the buildings.
Wait, Zillow?
No, China and Evergrande.
Oh, I was talking about Zillow.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Zillow's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hold on. I mean, that's mostly U.S. market. I don't like. I would see a lot of people that are in big money that I was talking to recently feel like the Colorado real estate market is set for a big correction. That's one of the markets that was like Seattle though on its growth, just really vertical growth on the prices. I still feel like a lot of real estate people that I talk to feel like the kind of the more rural or suburban, not city center houses will have a lesser than correction. But yeah, I mean, and on the debt interest, I have seen that story, the daily interest payments that the government's making. Basically, our GDP is making 100% of a total that is 130% of just interest payments that are due.
So we're negative 30%?
We're negative 30%
Cool.
right now on our, if we're producing and what we're owing on just the interest, we are below that threshold by 30%. Ooh, yeah.
There you go.
That's where it's at. So things are getting wonky quick.
You ever heard of the Price is Right? Well, this is the Price is Wrong.
So yeah, exactly. Here you go. I mean, this is basically what he's talking about is the federal debt to GDP ratio. 1960, 52%, meaning we were producing way more than what our debt was. It was actually going down in the 80s, 2000s back up to the 50s. Now, this says
down
120.
To 119. That's
no. I mean, this is as of
nuts.
I think the beginning of the year. This is the current.
Okay,
Total.
so I was correct.
Yeah,
It is
130.
Okay. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, think about it in the like if you're think about your daily expenses or your just personal your budget. If you're behind by 30% of your production in money per month, you're going to get wrecked. So I don't know. This like seeing this is just a clear thing. Think about your personal life. If you're behind by 30% monthly on your bills, you need to make a gigantic change.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get crushed. And I have to do this all the time. Like I'm a middle class person that works 3 middle class jobs at a time to make a big money paycheck and buy big houses and make big moves. It's not easy. No, I don't have some fancy degree. I spent a little bit of time in mechanical engineering, but I've had to learn a vast amount of skill sets to be able to continue to increase my value because if I see that I'm behind by 30% a month on my bills, gigantic changes need to happen in my personal life. Now, our government, they're just looking around. They're like, you know what, whatever. I think that I'm going to make someone sneeze in China again. And then I'm going to shut things down and I'm going to print us into oblivion and kick this can down another hallway because this one's at the end of its wall. And everyone's starting to notice, like PacWest, the bank PacWest, went insolvent, got purchased. No one even cared.
Yeah.
It didn't even make the news barely. It was just us crypto bros like, no, this isn't a meme chart. This is just straight down a national bank. We do, like the fact that no one reacted to that tells me that we are fully entrenched in clown world because anyone with big money watching these gigantic banks collapse is thinking that could be me next. I'm in a regional bank. So they're all moving to these gigantic big 6 banks. The 6th.
You mean centralize the demons?
Yeah, they're centralizing the demons. Exactly. And this is the whole idea that you cannot have a government that means well for you if they are beholden to a central bank. They don't have an ability to govern in a humanitarian way if they are beholden to monetary interests, just as you saw with Pfizer.
I love it. Right? Drew's fired up today. Let's go.
It's the same stuff. It just drives me nuts. And then now we're sitting here talking about aliens, right? Like we think that an alien is a physical thing that you can put a round through or something. If anything, it's another dimension of what you're talking about, and you are
or mushrooms,
But that's.
I mean, if panspermia holds true, their spores can survive in space. They're the first thing at life, the first thing at death. They've been literally cultivating biospheres for millions of years.
The mushrooms rule us all.
Yeah. I mean, read Meldon Sheldrake's Entangled Life.
You know what? That's an industry that's going to come to America.
Oh, yeah.
I would
What,
say
mushroom?
microdosing stuff, that is going to be a gargantuan industry. I
tend to disagree. I agree
think so?
it should.
I think it's
I think
coming.
40, 50 years.
They're doing it in Denver already.
They should. I mean, the
They're
amount of
doing it in Denver.
neurogenesis that comes from it, the help for PTSD, depression, everything else. Like, if you look at a lot of like the biomechanical processes that happen in humans, a lot of the macronutrients that you need all come from mushrooms.
There you go. Mushrooms in the chat. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple things. I do want to wrap
Get
up.
back on
Well, no,
track.
I want to wrap up Drew's thought about the government, and then I wanted to come to Hannah a little bit after that to talk about real estate and what people's impression of buying real estate is today. I'd just be curious.
Yeah.
So, real quick to Drew's point. Yes, big money and big wealth. When they see this, they can do math. They can run these calculations and simulations and know when the model is broken. And it really looks like the model for the U.S. Monetary policy has been broken. Hey,
Intentionally.
Chaos Inc. member for 1 month. Let's go. You guys are the best. Love all the different viewpoints. Appreciate having you on OG status.
Thank you, boo.
Chaos Inc. You deserve. It's a great name. Love having you as an OG. So, but real quick, if you guys follow the bond market a lot, that is really the indicator of a lot of the wealth in the world. Big money. Like there's retail money, there's institutional money, and then there's sovereign money, and that's the real money
And
in
then
the
there's
world.
FU money.
Well, I mean, yeah, and the sovereign money is
the
FU
way
money.
up there. No,
I mean,
there's
when you run the money
FU's
supply
above that.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm talking about like if you own the money supply in UAE, that's FU money.
Hell yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm talking
I know we agree.
trillion dollar accounts and stuff. So, but what they start to do is when they start to see the math start to get out of whack for the United States, they start to rebalance their portfolios. And this is one of the biggest indicators. And I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about the bond market. I've learned I've picked up bits and pieces over the years from other people that do know more about this stuff. But this is really bad. When you've got the 2-year treasury yield crossing 5% for the first time since you're effed. Basically.
And that's usually what the 10-year was?
That's what I'm saying. So when you've got the 2-year at 5% and the 10-year at 4.3, so the shorter term bonds are paying better than... You're getting paid more if you give them their money now versus let them hold it for 10 and 30 years.
It's like an addict.
Right, because they're panicking. They need it now. They're incentivizing you now. This is Celsius telling you they're going to pay you a higher yield if you give them more now.
Right.
That's what's happening. That's
Right.
exactly what this is, which is so ironic that they attack Celsius and all these other things so much when it's like, hey, that's the
Isn't
same.
that how you scare off a girl by giving them too much attention and
yeah.
acting desperate? Like, don't they usually get scared? Like,
I don't know.
Why do we continue giving them money? If it's the same thing, it's like desperation. Be like, no, I love you. I need
you'll
you.
probably
I
drive
need
them
you.
nuts. Yeah,
But
you'll
do the
drive them
2-year.
nuts.
Yeah.
Do the 2-year.
Yeah. And when it's-
Welcome to OG status, Wilma Fingerdew. Oh boy.
Whoa. Okay. Well, if you see the 10-year paying less than the 2-year, then there's a massive problem because you add in the fact of our inflation rates, right? So that's where you see bank repos, treasury repos, where they repossess those bonds because they're like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. We're not going to keep up with this inflation rate. We're going to buy these bonds back from you to keep you happy customers. You're going to buy the next set of bonds at this new rate, and we're going to keep moving this thing forward. It's
So
just
you
a
know you're
perpetual
describing
Ponzi.
rehypothecation.
Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a large-scale Ponzi scheme with many complex $100 words to confuse normal people day to day that aren't paying attention to inflation rates. They're basically confused to the point where they don't even care. They don't even want to hear it. So, being able to quantify what the bond market is important. But if you get too far in the weeds, no one's even going to hear you. You know what I mean? So, like, the inflation rate is the main thing to focus on. It's well outpacing the 10-year, and they're going to repossess those treasury bonds. And that's just what we've seen in quantitative easing. You have printing, you have bank repos, and then you have bank term funding programs, which was released and created for us to use on our banking system in March of this year to save our banking sector from collapsing in whole. That is actually an emergency fund that is only to be used in extreme emergency situations by its wording out of the IMF. And it's mostly, if you think about what the IMF takes care of, third and second world countries. But here's a first world country doing an emergency bank repo or a bank term funding program out of that same.
I think you're
basket of funds.
mispronouncing foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's just.
SAS Finance says, I hope everyone has money on the sidelines in 4 months because the crash may take longer than we think.
Yeah. Also, I see Nick Diamandi in chat who thinks he's in control.
Oh,
Oh my God.
This is the uniform of control. Nick Diamandi.
that's hilarious.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, real quick.
Look at his rank.
Only
Grand Admiral.
Only 1% of all U.S. homes have changed hands this year.
Wow.
Only 1%. Lowest in a decade. No one can afford to move from their 2, 3, 4% mortgages. Because
Well,
obviously, not. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say you're correct. No one can afford to. But now people are starting to not be able to afford to pay those.
Well,
so
and
that's where things get interesting.
Exactly. That's what I was. That's where I was going to come to. So I wanted to ask Hannah about this. I know, obviously, how old are you, Hannah?
22.
22, and you're mature for your age. You hang out with people older than you, I assume, a little bit. Yeah. So in that, say 20 to 30s, under 30, how many of your friends do you know that are buying or talking about buying, want to buy, and feel like they can't buy? Like, what is the kind of real estate discussion in your circles?
In my close circle, people my age, nobody's even discussing
That's
buying.
0%.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
we're renting, nobody's even discussing. But my boyfriend is closer to 30. He wants to buy, but they're it's not in the plans. They want to, but they're not even looking into
Do you think are people starting to have a mindset shift towards, maybe I'll just rent for a long time, maybe I'll travel more. I don't know if I'm going to just buy a place and settle down for 30 years. I want to stay free and flexible. Is that starting to happen yet or not, in your opinion?
Yeah, I've had a few friends get RVs and they're fixing up the RVs. That's been happening over the past 5 years. I feel like that's kind of a trend. A lot of people are thinking about doing that more. But I mean, I don't know. Personally, no, I want to buy something, but the situation right now just isn't ideal.
No.
So I'm going to wait it out and hopefully things get better over the next 2 years and the situation, I'll be in a good situation to buy something. But yeah,
nobody's really thinking about buying much right now.
Yeah, nobody.
Well, besides
hard.
my dumbass, I've got the dry powder specifically to buy something. But the question is, to get very conspiratorial, do I want anything within the perimeter? Because if people are talking about certain designs for cities, do you want to be outside of the city or inside the city?
Are you going to be able to get out if you need to?
Well, that's the other question. It seems like certain properties outside the cities are, I guess, getting incinerated.
Yeah.
Let's try to be subtle, but I can't be.
Almost like they're closing you in.
Yeah, so it's you have massive centralization of farmland that is absolutely happening. I'm sure you guys know who one of the largest owners of land is in the United States. It rhymes with Dillmates, and also has the most patents for artificial meats, which are some of the most carcinogenic things out there.
So good.
Anyway, but it's when you're looking at property, even if you can buy, do you want to buy outside of a city or inside of a city? Or do you buy inside the city and then do what Hannah's friends are doing, that you get an RV, you rent that thing, and then you peace out because you can charge out the wazoo?
Oh my God, Dave Digital just deleted Nick Demondi's comment.
Who's in charge now?
Icon.
Oh my
What
God.
an icon.
Now, the Deadwood says RV land is being bought up by one company now.
Yo.
I've heard.
Drop it in the chat.
Raise your hand if you haven't heard about that.
That's new.
I haven't heard
That's
about that.
absolutely new to me.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that either. The RV land. Now, I imagine it's got to be, a hedge fund, that's with a color. If I had to guess, or
Yo.
lack of, all the colors maybe.
They're going to
Scale?
rock out.
Talking
All
about
inclusive.
flu season 2.0 and all of this, a skill, fixing RVs.
Yeah,
Be an
Hey.
RV mechanic. Yo, those RV lots,
yeah.
all of them have
They
problems too.
killed it during the last one.
I think Drew and I are good right there. I've got the tools. You know how to work on it.
Yeah.
All right, boys, get on it.
I was just next door to a guy. I was at this gigantic house, and then next door to this gigantic house was this guy that he made upwards of $100 million out of an RV company that he started maybe 8 years ago. Built up, and he absolutely went bonkers. He bought property in Maui, even he's that rich. He's out there. So I mean, looking at that, it's interesting that we bring this up because in Denver, or Colorado particularly, I was surrounded by these RV dealerships that absolutely went nuts, and they were actually one of the main.
Dave Digital with the super chat said he's gonna need backup. Yeah, we got you, Dave. Don't worry.
Yeah, they were the main profiters. So yeah, I mean, you can find opportunity through chaos. I'm just highlighting that. You can look at what's going to be necessary during those time frames. You know what I mean, and then act accordingly. But you have to have a lot of conviction in it, just as we do here in crypto. And I always look for a large amount of confluence in my decisions in crypto. And yeah, it was funny. I was talking about on the show the downside, and then my wife came to me last week, and she's like, "The horoscope stuff, it looks gloomy. You have 3 days, and that was literally 3 days on the dot. Her astrology stuff said 3 days, and then I sold it, and it just went like that. So it's just kind of interesting to see the confluence that that I saw with that crash. But yeah, you can find little gold nuggets when things go wrong. You just have to be pretty brave about it.
Yeah,
Whenever there is chaos, there is also opportunity.
That's right. Welcome to OG status, Cade Pullum.
Hey, Cade.
Are you saying if you create the chaos, you make the
You
opportunity?
can also
Some
be
people
the,
do.
Good. Like the government.
If you
Two
thrive in
pieces.
chaos and you know other people don't, you create chaos.
Yep.
And now that might not make you a very fun person to be
Do
around.
you want some
But
blankie?
You manipulate
Because
the
this is the
chaos.
longest cloak ever.
Look at this thing.
yeah.
is
All right,
massive.
let's keep it moving real quick. We've been going for a little while. This is pretty interesting news, and it actually ties to a pretty good announcement for the channel. So Justin, Coinbase acquires stake in USDC stablecoin issuer Circle. Now, this isn't a total shock. We know Circle and USDC Circle and Coinbase have been in a very close relationship for quite some time.
Yeah.
Coinbase, one of the main pushers or issuers or distributors of USDC. Very, very close ties, both of them with the U.S. government. BNY Mellon, the oldest bank in the United States, kind of this interior central circle that they were just referencing. So no real shock there. To see that come full circle, I still fully believe USDC will be the U.S. digital dollar, and we're seeing it kind of get pushed through by all the different powers that be, so to speak. First, real quick, just 30-second answer, Drew. Any thoughts on that?
Well, in general, I think that Coinbase and USDC are going to be the American or NATO side of crypto. I feel like Tether is going to be the brick side of crypto now. And that's just speaking broadly. I did Tether up. I didn't USDC up, right? Because USDC depegged. And it's more intertwined with the American banking sector, and I believe they have bond backing as well.
They do, yeah.
So I am actually
They had about $1 billion. The reason it depegged is they had about $1 billion of their
Yeah.
reserves in Silvergate Bank.
Yep. And like just seeing that they're so I am not bullish on the US banking system at
Right.
all. So that's why I felt more comfortable going into Tether. Long term, it's probably going to be a match made in heaven, and the West will win again, probably, but it's not going to be pretty. And it's going to take 10 years. So, until then, I just, I'm kind of just working with Tether. It feels more safe to me in general. USDC, I think they got staying power, and I think that BlackRock's connection to Coinbase for custodying their Bitcoin spot ETF in the future kind of helps solidify that larger picture to me. But again, I'm not a big fan of them either, so that's why I stay away.
Yeah. Part of why I brought it up is going to bring me to, I'm going to get to in just a minute, a new show sponsor that actually just stepped up to support the channel, which is super exciting.
What?
But I want to know
BlackRock.
I want to know in the chat, actually, if you could write, whoever's doing the polls, if you could end that poll and start this poll, how many of you, and this is something I've been interested in a long time, would like to invest in crypto companies like equity? Like, you're not necessarily, like, if you want, for example, buying coin, Coinbase just bought Circle, which is the issuer of USDC, who's printing money. If you would like to figure out, hey, how I want to invest in Circle, I don't know how to do that. And if you're now I know obviously there's some rules and regulations to it. You have to be an accredited investor to do pre-revenue, or not pre-revenue, but
Pre-sale.
non-public companies like this. And obviously, there's certain requirements you have to meet to get there, as far as you have to have a certain level of income, a certain base level of assets, or I don't think there's a test you can just pass now. But currently, it's just a certain level of income and a certain level of assets, and then you can start investing. However, knowing where, knowing how, the way to do it is very difficult. The reason I bring this up is our new sponsor, Link2, and that's with a Q. That's here you go, LINQTO.
Ooh.
It's pretty cool. It's your access to private investment, invest in leading startups with affordable minimums, broadening investment opportunities for all. So again, this is still for accredited investors. I'd be curious to know in the chat. I can kind of get the sense by some of the way you guys talk, who are and aren't accredited investors. Obviously, I think you have to have an income of $200,000 or $300,000 a year, or cumulative assets over $1 million, not counting your primary residence, I think is the requirement.
Okay.
Something along those lines. However, there's other things you can do as time goes on. And I know the goal is to get these accredited investor laws changed over time to open this up. So what's really cool about this is it allows you to invest. And they do, the reason this comes in, obviously they're close with crypto related companies. I believe Ripple is one of them, but I know Circle is one of them as well. So like if you wanted to invest in Circle as an individual, you can through this website. You come in, you can come here, here, this is what it's about. Here's the key facts and figures. You can learn a little bit about their financials, and it requires a very low minimum. I think it's like $2,500 minimum investment to get involved in some of these other, here's Ripple right here, Polysign, Ledger,
Epic,
Dune Analytics, Dapper Labs. I mean, these are a lot of companies within the blockchain space that, again, you're not buying a token, you're buying equity in a business that you believe is going to do well in the industry as time goes on. Obviously, it's for more sophisticated. Oh, here we go. Sin Diesel says $200K for individual, $300K for joint family, $1 million net worth excluding primary residence. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Now, like I said, as time goes on, they want things to get easier. So maybe you don't have to be an accredited investor to start putting equity in these things, but it allows you to self-manage. What's really nice is you're not getting hit with management fees anytime you swap anything back and forth. You're not getting hit. You have liquidity to do this yourself, kind of in real time. I'll be honest, I haven't personally tested it yet. I just, from what I've seen, what I've played with, what I understand is you can go in there. Hold on, I'm about to sneeze.
Get it. And then I want to comment on the Coinbase USDC thing.
Bullshit.
That was bad. But you can go in there kind of like an iTrust Capital or something like that, where you can, it's like it's not a self-directed IRA. So don't quote me on that, but you can go in and manage your own assets individually. Oh, hey, I want to take my $2,500 out of Circle and put it into, Dapper Labs, or I want to take it out of Dapper and put it into Ledger.
The McDonald's hiring team in chat. Anyone need an application?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Whoa.
Hey, McDonald's hiring team.
Whoa.
Maybe. Okay, send them. You
We'll
can
take a
send them
stack.
info@hitnetwork.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody needs a job sometimes. But anyway, you're going to be hearing more about this. We might have some members on the team come on and do an interview. I'm going to dig into it a little bit more. Like I said, I'm interested in equity in different companies in this space. I've known some of the people that have done very, very well over time. It's been through investing in, imagine if you invested in Gemini, if you invested in Coinbase and all this stuff when they were, pre-IPO, early on, there's a lot of opportunity. Uphold, obviously. Chainalysis. Anybody think Chainalysis is going to have some value increase over the next 10 years?
Right.
You think they're going to get some great government contracts that exists for the next, rest of time? Most likely.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting one to me.
Psi Quantum.
I like how it lumps them all like crypto specific. It's always hard to chase them around on your own if you're researching each one individually.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a really cool app, really cool design. I'll make sure we get the link. The link is right here, link2.com, basically, linqto.com. We'll also make sure we drop it in the description. You'll hear more about this as time goes on. But I just wanted to kind of set this up. They're supporting the channel, which we really appreciate. It allows us to do more cool, fun stuff. Maybe let's see. They've got 225,000 registered users, 261 total investments, 43 companies available. So all this will be growing. Like I said, it's kind of like an exchange for private equity. It's pretty interesting. So just keep an eye on it. They're rolling things out, very professionally managed. They've got a lot of really sophisticated people behind it. It'll be cool to see.
I can't wait. You didn't even say anything. I didn't even know this was coming up. So this is exciting. Earnestly exciting.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Now, can I rant on the Coinbase thing?
Go for it.
So I do think it's funny, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I do think it was funny that at the beginning of the year that I talked about how I felt like FTX was 1.0 and that Coinbase would be 2.0, and then it would link up with Ethereum, which would basically be the linchpin to screw over the markets and everything, and now BlackRock, and it seems like a lot of that stuff's coming together. Now, that doesn't mean you won't profit. That doesn't mean you won't make an butt ton of money, but it is interesting to see how all that centralization that I was alluding to actually did happen. Which is a little, I don't like it, but again,
That's a
if
sketchy scenario.
technology and decentralization equaled profit, things would be very different. You'll see projects out there that are phenomenal that aren't ever going to make money, and things that may be completely against the ethos that you're going to rip.
Yep.
So unfortunately, those two don't correlate, but
Yep.
I don't know. I'm still personally a little weirded out by all these things happening with USDC and Coinbase and everything else, and especially BlackRock and their filthy fingers in there. But they do make money.
And that poll wrapped up. It says, "Are you interested in investing in crypto companies or equity?" 63% yes. So there you go.
Yeah, why
That's good
wouldn't
to
you?
know. All right. So on the same note, this is a little bit. I haven't even read this yet. You might know a little bit about this, guys, because I think this was yesterday. But
AC says, "Does anyone invest in BlackRock?" No, BlackRock invests in you.
yeah, that's right. They take everything.
They're very interested in
and you'll be happy or whatever. Coinbase may have acquired Ripple too, this says. So amidst all the legal developments in the XRP versus US SEC lawsuit recently, the XRP price fell back to where it was. Prior. So that was interesting. You know, that summary judgment came out, pumped from about 50 cents all the way up to 75. Now it's back about to where it was before that. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Coinbase would have acquired a stake in Ripple. Attorney Deaton blamed the U.S. SEC lawsuit for the slowdown in the progress of Ripple projects. If not for the lawsuit, the company would have been in such a position that it would have been acquired by crypto exchange Coinbase in the context of its acquiring stake in Circle, the company behind USDC. Interesting. What could have happened regarding adoption of XRP during the last 3 years if the lawsuit was never filed? Would Coinbase today be announcing it acquired a stake in Ripple instead of Circle?
That is super interesting.
That is interesting.
That is super. This is why I left XRP in the background, right? This type of stuff right here, the weirdness with XRP and Ripple, like why is Rosie Rios ever part of the board? The lady that's on your $100 bill is part of the board of Ripple, right? And then they have all these overlapping central bank people. Like this is the kind of mystery stuff that I like leaving in the background just in case it goes nuts. I mean, it's showing some really weird signs of staying power, and it won that slight judgment so far. And I know it's going to be
turning
appealed.
you into exit liquidity.
Oh my God, I bought it so cheap.
I know, I'm there.
I'm so far up.
Either way, I got a little bag.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting. So basically, he's posing the point that they have a pretty legitimate case that if they hadn't been under, wrongful allegation by the SEC for the last 3 years, they had a pretty good chance of maybe getting acquired by Coinbase rather than USDC. I'd be curious how much. I'm sorry, rather than Circle. I'd be curious how much they acquired of Circle.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting. But you're right. They've got very deep ties, very good global connections.
Is that a number we can find out, or will that be released like next
the
quarter?
equity amount? We could probably find out if we dug for it. I'm sure it's out there. And it may, or if it's public. But I mean, yeah, I'd have to look. I don't know. Somebody knows.
It's very bright in here now.
All right, so real quick, wrapping this thing up, we mentioned it at the top of the show. Thorchain has been releasing new features recently. Here's Eric Voorhees talking about testing Thorchain's new lending feature this morning. Posted 1 ETH collateral, basically 1660 in value, borrowed 750 value against it. If I pay the 750 back in any form, I get my 1 ETH back. 30-day minimum term, no interest, no liquidation risk, no KYC, permissionless. It's pretty freaking cool, to start to see some true permissionless DeFi lending happening. Now, we've seen it in DeFi for a while. This is just Thorchain starting to do it. They're good at going cross chains with less bridges, which is, they're good on the technical side. Mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum related things.
Dumb question. They are their own chain?
Yes, Thorchain Rune. Yeah.
Copy.
It's and they are, a lot of people, I've been a fan of it for a long time because of some of the technology stuff they've been doing. I would say most people know about it because they suffered a massive hack. I'd say maybe like 6 or 8 months ago. I can't remember exactly when.
I remember that, yeah.
But it, like if you can, we'll go find it on the chart. You'll see it because everybody piled out, and that really was a buying opportunity on Rune.
So somebody was able to pick up Millionaire?
Yeah,
Millionaire.
Or however you pronounce the hammer of Thor. It was a joke.
Here you go. I think this was it back here. This is the November crash. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but it might have been back in it's 2022.
It kind of held stable.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those charts when we were talking about charts earlier where it's like there's very little downside. I mean, you could get back under $1, where it was sitting at $1 for quite some time. It's pumped recently. I've watched, again, if you're looking at it's already retracing from that.
I'm wanting this
pump,
thing at a buck. I think it'll touch $1.
Yeah, $1's pretty good. And if it can be a relevant DeFi player in the next cycle, this is one of those ones, again, to monitor, to see if it continues to do well, to see if people move to it on a DeFi basis. But it seems like it's solving a big problem in the DeFi space, allowing you to do things that used to require a centralized exchange or some kind of hybrid.
There's going to be roughly 1 billion tokens or 500 million?
Say that again?
I'm sorry. 1 trillion tokens or 500 billion? It's at 340 million.
It's 500 million.
Yeah, it's 500.
68's out. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of it's been out there. It's fairly conservative, but again, these are one of those charts. You don't know if this is going to recover.
Right.
Like getting back to an all-time high for this is pretty substantial. I mean, you're talking $20.
More than a 20x.
Exactly.
Well, actually, a little
more
less
than
than
a 10x.
$1.06, but I wanted a buck. I think it'll touch a buck. And then we touch 20, and then we got a 20x.
Where did the buck touch you?
Everywhere, all over my body. It's insane.
So those are some to keep an eye on. Like I said, new features, new technology. If you watch, the TVLs going up on different things, the volumes going up on different websites. It's not a slam dunk. It's not a sexy pick necessarily, but this is where, to me, finding things that are relevant within the space that, like again, we talked about Chainlink isn't necessarily a sexy pick, but it's a lower downside pick, still has big upside. Some of these Ethereum for a lot of people isn't sexy enough. They're, like I already got Ethereum. Like what else you got for me? It's like, well, there's other stuff out there, but Ethereum, very high upside, low downside. Thorchain, it's kind of in the middle, or Rune, kind of in the middle where it's got some risk. There's a pretty good chance if the hype doesn't come back to it, if they don't nail the technology, if permissionless KYC isn't important enough to enough people,
right,
then it may not do what you're expecting it to do. And that's another thing to keep in mind. I'd kind of put it. It's above privacy coins because permissionless DeFi is more of, I think, a bigger niche than the privacy niche. But a lot of people that bought privacy coins, very similar. Like, you're buying them to be within that niche for when you need them for whatever reason. You're not necessarily buying them because you're speculating that the price is going to go up. Because there's a much smaller group of people that are buying privacy coins than are going to buy something off of Robinhood because they think it's going to help them make money.
Yes, take it from me. Sovereignty wishes are you're alone. You will feel alone if you operate off of pure morals and sovereignty and freedom. It's a small group of people in the world that are looking for that particularly. So
it is, and there's trade-offs to it. That was something Johnny and I were talking about before the show. He gets really frustrated with people that are kind of privacy virtual signalers, where they're talking about, I can't believe you got this coin that required KYC, and he's like,
they walk around with their iPhone,
with their phone, with their mortgage, with their bank, like their bank account, all these different things that they had to give away all their information for. Yeah. And it's just a trade-off. You have to go ahead. What you got?
I was gonna say Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
Now
Facebook.
they have your bank account if you're getting like monetization, or if you hope to. Instagram, they have everything now. Everything has everything.
That's a really good point to keep in mind. Now that, think about that. When they offer to pay you pennies for some of the content that you're giving, a lot of times that's next to nothing once people sign up to get this. But what you trade for them in exchange is access to all of your financial information, all of your accounts, like you're trading tons of information to get pennies on the dollar.
Because you can't connect it to an EIN, can you?
Say that again?
An EIN?
I don't think so, no.
I'm not sure, but
Might
either
be
way,
able
they
to.
track all that if it's connected to
Yeah,
the
but there's
IM.
ways to like shell that at least.
I
mean,
wonder
you can't-
how many,
it's both.
like-
You need a bank account. They need a place to deposit it to.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the people that really care about like the monetization from X, like Twitter, are mostly crypto people. I would say, and they're the people like on Friend Tech, the people that are trending are all crypto accounts, and they gave up their bank account information like no problem. They don't care, but they're all worried about like protecting their seed phrase and like decentralization. And I don't know, I'm contradicting.
Should we
themselves a little
quote
bit.
Alanis Morissette right now?
Go for it.
Isn't it ironic?
Exactly.
It's like rain.
That's pretty much all we have time for. Kyle Davies in the chat. Wow. I mean, I know it's Kyle Davis, but we'll pretend it's Kyle Davies from 3 Arrows Capital who ruined all of our lives. But no, not really. He didn't ruin all of our lives. That's all we have time for today. We really love and appreciate all of you guys. Shout out to 15K. Congratulations to you if you got that NFT. We'll have more fun stuff in the future. Crimson Caravan Company, SAS Finance, Kyle Davis, Hodge 2, Podge 4, The Deadwood, Mike Vollmer, Solar Miner in Spain, Randomness, King D, Owen Allen, Gary Allen, Owen Allen again, HNNL, Manawak, Michael Moore, King D, all of you guys. We love you. Spread some love out there. Accumulate solid projects. Don't panic. Keep your head up in the bull market. Right. Think about something you're grateful for. Tell somebody something you like about them. That's all we got today. We're out.
And pay your tithings to the Imperial Alliance.
Oh, do it.